Hey guys, I'm Sai and welcome to Ace Podcast Nation, the home of the Danny Batten Fight Show. Of course, you can find this on youtube.com/Ace Podcast Nation as well as facebook.com/Acecast Nation, and all the audio versions for this and all the other shows available at your favourite radio and podcasting app. Tonight we're talking MMA, of course, and joining me first of all, former Cage Warriors champion, UK MMA legend, Mr. Danny Batten. How are you, mate?
Yeah, you're right, Si. Yeah, it's another successful UFC, another good show. Really enjoyed the fights overall, and can't wait to get talking about them.
Indeed. Have you had a haircut, mate?
Well, I didn't have much hair to cut, but did I re-bick it? Yes.
See, I it's the small details, mate, which I noticed.
Just more shine on the head now.
It's blinded. And joining us is our special guest, is Cage Warriors welterweight, ahead of his fight in September on the Cage Warriors Trilogy event, Mr. Aaron Khalid. How are you, my friend?
Hello. I'm okay. How are you?
All right, buddy. I'm looking forward to this. Been looking forward to it all week because we try and get a guest like most weeks if we can, but because it's a weekly show, you can't always do it. And we didn't have one last week, so it was just me and Danny. But we got a few got guests lined up now for the next couple of weeks, which I'm looking forward to. It's also nice to have someone with a proper accent. None of this rubbish. Proper Cardiff accent. That's what I like. That's what I like. If I had my way, they'd all be Cardiff accents. But yeah, so before, as is the norm, Danny, before we go into the card, we'll have a little chat about some bits and pieces.
Sure.
So first of all, we got Dustin Poirier and Tony Ferguson pretty much announced and done for the it'd be the co-main event on and my mind's gone blank, Khabib and Gaethje, which that's some two fights, isn't it?
That is quite some fights. In regards to who I would go for, I'm going to go Ferguson on this one. I think he's going to come back like an even more madman than previously.
I think Poirier gets him.
Yeah, okay, it's going to be interesting. Okay, yeah. I don't know. I just think it's going to push him to new levels.
I think I said, I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, I said that I thought Ferguson in his last fight, was it Gaethje he fought, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then I thought Gaethje broke him, mate. I got to be honest, I really did. Not that, you know, he wouldn't be the first person that Gaethje's done that to, but I thought mentally he looked shot, and physically, just through the fight, he just didn't look like Ferguson. Now, don't get me wrong, a couple of months down the line and recovered from his injuries and this and that, you know, he can be back to the old Tony Ferguson, but Dustin Poirier is not someone to, you know, he's got to make sure that he's up to standard, otherwise he's going to be in trouble.
Dustin's going to bring in a knee. He's going to be in his face, throwing hands at him.
And I think Dustin Poirier as well is going to be like Tony Ferguson. If he can beat Tony Ferguson, he's in that title picture to face the winner of Gaethje versus Khabib.
Yeah, he's had a good set of results of late, hasn't he? He's been pretty active, hasn't he?
I think so. Yeah, he's done quite well of recent. And Aaron, what was the other fight you said was on that card as well?
This was Khabib and Whittaker.
That's it. Yeah.
That would be an absolute
banger. That would be very good.
I think a lot of people forgot how good Whittaker was.
Yeah.
He was away for a bit, wasn't he? Yeah, as such as like MMA and boxing, in as people forget, or people
very quick.
They just forget, and it's tell you what, another fight which I saw looks like it's going to be made, which I'm quite looking forward to, which I think will be a bit of a sleeper. Is it was a women's fight? It's Jessica Andrade versus Caitlyn on October the 17th. I think that'll be a really good fight. When's that?
Yeah.
October 17th.
Andrade's a little pitbull, isn't she?
Yeah, I think that'll be really good. But and that's at flyweight as well. So obviously she's the former strawweight champion, Andrade. But I just think that'll be a really, really good fight. obviously Chikagian, she challenged for the flyweight championship, didn't she, previously?
Yeah, she fought
But
Shevchenko, didn't she?
and not many people get the better of Shevchenko. It's got to be said. But like,
No.
I just think that the women rarely disappoint, and I think that, I tell you what, that October 17th card looks pretty jam packed because you've got Brian Ortega coming back against Chan Sun Young, Andrade versus Chikagian, Modestas Bukacash, which is Danny's fighter, versus Jimmy Crute, which that'll be a good one. Then you've got Renato Murciano versus Magomed Mustafev, and
he's good.
And I was going to say he's very good, and also John Phillips versus Hyun Young Park. So I'm gonna very much looking forward to that. So Danny, does that mean you won't be able to do that weekend then, is it?
Yeah, highly unlikely.
Modestus?
Yeah, I'll be out with him.
Where is that? Is that in America, is it?
We're still waiting for the actual set venue, to be honest. It was it's either going to be Vegas or Fight Island. But I don't know whether they've confirmed it yet.
It says expected to take place at Fight Island. Right?
Yeah,
so
but that hadn't been confirmed. I was with Modestus just Friday.
Yeah, it does say it haven't been confirmed. Like it just says that they're looking into Nevada, but more likely to be Fight Island. But,
sure.
So I'll have to find a replacement for you again, mate. This is getting ridiculous. You've only just come back from holiday.
I know. It was crazy time, wasn't it? Because I had that nearly 2 weeks away with the Dubai thing, and then I went away for 4 weeks myself. Like just the way it landed.
Nice.
But I still did it while I was in Dubai, obviously with UFC, and then I travelled across Europe. France, Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, Poland, Czech. I went all over. It was really good.
Oh, nice, lovely.
But but poor old Si. But then again, I did do it while I still kept it going though when I was out there. We had a bit of issues with Wi-Fi, but we still got through it.
Yeah, that mountainside Wi-Fi was not
the best. Not the best.
Not it. But being the editing genius that I am, no one would have noticed apart from me and Danny, because we knew how bad it was.
Oh, we had a nightmare. Jesus, man, we had a nightmare that time.
So because it's a very short main card of the UFC, because we only talk about the prelims really, unless there's some British fighters or something particularly which takes our fancy, which we will have a little chat about in a minute. But I wanted to talk about the Cage Warriors trilogy card for September. Starts September 24th, 25th, 26th, and I gotta say I cannot wait for that. It's going to be impossible to cover with UFC on the Saturday as well. But we'll just do like a 6-hour show. Be fine. But I'm thinking like I might try and get like a few different guests and stuff to talk about it, and try and spread it out over a couple of nights or something. I don't know. We'll talk about that at a later date. But so the main card for the 24th is very interesting. You've got Oban Elliott, friend of the channel, versus Michael Figlak. I'm going to go for Oban there.
That'd be a good fight.
I think so.
Comfortably.
Yeah.
And then you've got a certain Mr. Aaron Khalid versus Mike Stanton at welterweight.
Yeah. Go on, Aaron. You got it.
Be over in seconds. Yeah. Big Mick Stanton. No, Aaron Khalid to take the win there, I think. But are you all set for that, mate? All set for that?
Yeah, just good. Just right. Best camp I've had, to be honest with you. I know a lot of fighters say that, but during this lockdown, I used to work nights, so I've lost my night job, and when training started back up, I had training to focus on. So it's amazing. I can't wait for this fight. I honestly can't wait.
So you train with Lewis, don't you, Lewis Long?
Yeah.
Obviously, we had him on a couple of weeks ago. I think he was the one who stood in for you, Dan, wasn't he, Lewis?
I believe so. Yeah, I think
he did. Yeah.
How you did it? Yeah.
Yeah, Lewis. So Lewis stood in for Danny the 1 week. So yeah. But what's he like as a coach?
He's good. He's good at breaking things down his own way. Like,
Yeah.
but then he'll try cater to your style as well. He's good to have as a training partner in the gym as well because he's very well rounded. He can box with you. You could spar Thai with him. You could just do purely jiu-jitsu or wrestling. He's good. He's good to have around.
Sounds like he's talking about me.
Yeah.
Must be all the great MMA guys then.
Some people just got a mind for it, Dan, you know? Who else have we got on this? So then we've also got Jake Hadley versus Shaj Hake at flyweight.
Superman Hatch.
Yeah. I think that'll be interesting. Who you got there then, Aaron, for that fight?
Superman. I don't know Jake Hadley. I haven't really heard of him that much.
Yeah.
What's his record? That
Which one?
has he got a decent record?
Who's that? Jake Hadley or the?
Yeah.
So look, obviously, then just while I look that up, the main event for that night, I believe, is Luke Shanks for the title. Obviously, that was due to go down before lockdown, wasn't it? So it was Luke Shanks versus Samia Fadine, who's the champion for the flyweight title. Obviously, Danny, you used to train Luke.
Yes.
Do you fancy him to take that title?
Yeah, I do. You know, he's he has gone to another camp now. Well, he completely moved. He's gone completely up north. So it's a total new way of life for him, new approach to training, but it's done nothing but good for him. I've seen him make continuing improvements, and he does pop back. So we do still get to see him and spar with him and train. Real good friend. I wish him all the best, and I've really got high hopes for him. To be honest, he's definitely got the character of mind. He's got all the attributes needed to go all the way, and I think he's got this guy. I really do.
Yeah, I think so. He when I spoke to him, he was very, very confident that he could get it done, and I think he was, he was very disappointed when it was called off because he had done the camp and he was raring to go. So yeah, I fancy him. What about you, Aaron? Have you got one there?
I can't say I've watched Luke. Did he used to fight a bantamweight?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he fought Jason Jenkins, didn't he?
Yeah, crikey. Hit him names at me like that. I can't remember. I've had so many fighters over the years. I struggle remembering the names of my own team.
Yeah,
but maybe so.
There's no one. I'll watch fighters who are in my weight,
right?
Low weight, and people in the gym. We haven't really got any flyweights, so I haven't really been keeping an eye on that division. I know Sam Creasy fought for the belt.
Yeah.
And Samia guy beat him, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
But I weren't impressed with that Samia in that fight either.
No, I didn't think he was particularly. Well, certainly in that fight, he didn't seem particularly special. Like so, I'm going to go with Luke. Right. With Luke. So Jake Hadley, he's got a professional record of 5-0. He's on a current 7-fight win streak from his amateur days.
Impressive.
So he's got a bit about him from Birmingham. So yeah, he's ranked 10 in the UK and Ireland's flyweights. But I was interested that Aaron, you said straight away, nope.
It's because I don't know him.
Yeah.
I know Superman Sachi. I watched him fight before.
Yeah.
It was many years ago. This was, and I was impressed with the way he fought. He fought Mr. Pink or Chris Edwards, didn't he?
He did, yeah, back in the day, yeah.
Yeah, that's the fight I remember watching.
Yeah, I look. I think I would have got. I was probably thinking along the lines of Superman, but now that I've looked at Hadley's record, I'm not so sure. I'm a bit like.
Are they against decent opponents though, or?
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
They look. Let's have a look. Where's he gone?
Is he out of Team Renegade in Birmingham?
Fearless MMA.
Oh, I don't know.
Says. But then saying that, his last fight was on BFC in September 2009. That can't be right because that would make it like over a year ago since his last fight. So that can't be like completely up to date. But yeah, it should be an interesting fight, nonetheless. Jake Hadley. Be interesting. Like that card straight away. There's like several fights on there, which interest me. And someone told me that on the prelims that the George Smith versus Matt Bonner at middleweight is. He said that'll be a really, really good fight. And if you remember, Dan, when we covered the Cage Warriors show where Mason won the title, remember Adam Amra Singh?
Yeah.
fought?
Oh, yeah. He's done ever so well. Yeah.
He looked
He did
really,
good, didn't he?
really. He looked real
really.
good. Like, and he's fighting in the main event of the pro prelims against Conor Hignett. So
Yeah.
I'm quite looking forward to seeing him again because he was so good in the previous show.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Friday night. There's a couple of these haven't been fully decided. So you've got two title fights on the Friday. You've got Jack Cartwright versus Gerardo Fanny for the bantamweight title. Any views on that one, Dan?
Cartwright.
Yeah. I was just so same. It's got a bit. You can't lose to a Fanny. You can't do that.
You hope so, mate. Matthias Fredericks versus Jamie Richardson for the middleweight title as well. See, I quite like Jamie Richardson.
Yeah, that's the reason I wanted to do well. But
Yeah,
that Frederick's a big boy at middleweight.
yeah. I was going to say he's massive. So that'll be an interesting fight. And then you've got James Webb versus Craig White at middleweight. Jack Grant versus Yassine Belhaj at lightweight. And Adam Wilson's also fighting. And then on the pro prelims, we have Ben Ellis versus Kingsley Crawford at featherweight. Who you got for that, Aaron?
I got Ben.
I was going to say if you said Kingsley,
Can you imagine? Fuck he'd kick off with the Jimmy would. No, it's going to be interesting now because Ben likes talking to his opponents as well. And obviously, there's no fans. You're going to hear.
So you're going to hear
the shit he talks.
Well, we looked with Mason the week before last. He mentioned Ben's last knockout victory where knocks him out with an elbow from like on top of him.
Yeah, like short hook.
Yeah, it's brutal. So we brought it up on the screen and we had a look at it like it's nasty.
Ben's a strong boy, strong featherweight.
Well, they've been calling him the Welsh Khabib now, haven't they? Because of that.
Yeah.
I've seen it a few different places, including BT Sport calling it. So calling him that. So he's got to live up to it.
Yeah, he will.
Pressure. Who else? Anyone else on the prelims there? Ian Gary versus George McManus. A couple of good ones. And then the Saturday, 26th, which is the final night. There's all sorts of fights on that last card. So you got Stephen Amiable versus Jordan Vuccinic. Obviously trains under Danny. Will you look? Is Jordan all ready for that, mate?
Absolutely, yeah. He's still very young in the big scheme. I think so. He's developing physically, mentally, and his technical tribute. So he's just a natural talent. Just once he gets on his pressure performance up to cue with how he performs in the gym, which I think is going to develop as he matures, he's going to be a real prospect.
Yeah, have you seen much of Jordan there, Aaron?
Years ago, I seen his name when he was an amateur. I think he was like 1-0. I remember seeing his name and I watched one of his fights. He looked good. I haven't taken a look at him recently, but he's knocked up quite a good win record. So he must be smashing it.
He's highly rated, mate. Isn't he?
Yeah,
and he's a really good dude as well. Like I've spoken to him now a couple of times, and he's a good lad, which always makes a difference. Who else we got? And then we've also obviously got them two title fights at the top of the card. We got Morgan Charrier versus Max Koga for the vacant featherweight title. Any predictions for that one?
I got Charrier. I think he's a pretty good, well-rounded fighter. But I don't know that Koga, and he's got a good record, so you don't have good records for no reason. He has like 20 wins, don't he? So that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fights.
That is a lot of fights. And then you've got the main event of the final night. Mason Jones versus Adam Proctor for the vacant welterweight title to make him two belts Jonesy, as I called him the other day. But what do you think of that one, Aaron? Do you think he's going to do it?
Yeah, I think he'll do it, but I think the first round or 2 rounds is going to be tough for him because Proctor's obviously the bigger guy, the stronger guy. He's gonna put it on Mason, but I think over the 5-round course of the fight, Mason's gonna outwork him, outpressure him, and eventually crumble him. Proctor, you see this fight, he doesn't like it when it turns into a fight.
Yeah.
Like when he fought that short Italian guy, and he couldn't get him down. And on the feet, then he was looking a bit bewildered. After a while, he doesn't like the grit of a fight. I think Mason's gonna bring that to him.
Yeah, well, I watched back Mason's like when he won the title. And the other day, actually, and the guy just couldn't live with him. Like, he just, once he started pouring on him, he just didn't know what to do. Like, he just couldn't go anywhere.
Mason pours it on. He's constantly in your face. In sparring, he's the same. He's just at you all over the place.
Yeah, I think, like, obviously it's going to be difficult, and they're going up a weight. It's not easy to go up a weight and, you know, and win a title. You know, it's difficult, but
yeah,
you know, he's clearly a very talented boy, as Mason.
Yeah.
And you know, they wouldn't have offered him that fight, and they wouldn't have offered him the chance to go for a second title if they didn't think he was gonna, you know, go close at the very least. You know, so I'll be interested to see how that one goes. And of course, Paddy Pimblett is also due to fight on one of these 3 cards. He hasn't had anyone announced as of yet.
He's having trouble with opponents pulling out on him and stuff isn't he?
Yeah, I spoke to him the week before last, and you know, he's still, as far as he's concerned, he's fighting, like, you know. But I know at least one opponent either pulled out or they were having trouble getting it signed, sealed, and delivered. But he's had that problem for the last couple of years, mate. You know, he's either been out with injury or his opponents keep pulling out. Like,
yeah, it's not been the luckiest of fighters, it seems, in recent years.
Dan, we discussed this, I think it was last week or the week before, again with Jack Shaw. Like, he had a similar issue whereby fighters keep pulling out. When they get a fight down for him, they pull out, and then he has a replacement. And I think that's got to make it more difficult, Aaron, as a fighter, when you're constantly having last minute changes, you know, to your scheduled opponent. Yeah, and I think it probably it says a lot about Jack and Paddy that they're able to still get still have the records that they've got, even though they've had so many changes at the last minute.
It does throw a spanner in the works, like, but the changes isn't so much of a massive impact unless
it's completely different.
You get a style change, but where you're as good as Jack and Paddy, it shouldn't matter too much for them to fight against anyone. I think they could wrestle anyone or strike anyone they want. But it's the pullouts that kill. No, it's the pullouts. And after when they happen consecutively, it's demoralising.
Yeah, it's got to be difficult. So I was just having a look to see if there was any sort of update on Paddy's, sort of any rumours or stories. And the last sort of official thing I can find, obviously you had in March where he had the fighter pulled out last minute, didn't he? Like the night before, and they had the massive Twitter spat then because Paddy was giving him grief.
Joe Gianti.
Yeah, that's the American guy when he came over, and I think I think he missed weight by a lot, and I think Paddy got annoyed because once he missed weight, he kind of sat down and started drinking water, and it was like he felt like it was a bit disrespectful, like that he didn't even try and kind of, you know, lose it or maybe negotiate like a catch weight or something. He just kind of
gave up.
But you know, as Paddy does, he had plenty to say on social media. But the last thing I could find is in June, Graham Boylan said that Paddy would be on the triple-header cards, but then
nothing.
Doesn't seem to be anything since. So hopefully he's on it because like we just went
Yeah,
through
make
those
the card
fights.
bigger, won't it?
Yeah, there's been some great fights, but I don't think there's much doubt that he's one of the biggest names under the Cage Warrior banner, and he brings in eyes, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a great card anyway when you've got the level of fighters which are on there already, and if you add him to the mix, it just makes it stronger. But with one of the days, I said there was a few slots tonight. The Friday, there's a couple of slots on that card, so maybe they'll slot him in there somewhere.
Yeah,
but
hopefully.
Okay. So so UFC last night. This is an interesting card. Lots of interesting results. Some I think didn't go the way that some people thought. However, Danny, if you go back and listen to last week, I think I called most of them. So
I think you did.
There you go.
I did the mistake of going with my heart and not with my head.
You went with the you went with the names, mate. You did. The names.
Who did you go for?
So Danny went with Robbie Lawler, and I went with Magny.
Yeah, Lawler just looked terrible. Right.
But I didn't think he looked very good against who was it? Was it Askren? Covington. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, he seems to have lost it a little now.
Age, mate.
But you can't take it away from Magny. Magny's looking amazing.
Magny looked good.
Yeah,
he did exactly
really
what
impressive.
I thought he would do as well. Just wear on Lawler, keep him at range of his jab.
Yeah.
Crafty, mate. He was. I thought he was really crafty the way he
caught
worked.
with a couple of high kicks and knees. It was nice.
That's it. Yeah, his tie clinch looked dangerous. It looked like it took something out of Lawler. Keep on clinching up like that.
And then you had, of course, the Anthony Smith main event, which we'll talk about him in a bit of detail now. Were you surprised that Anthony Smith lost, though, Aaron?
No, I thought I had Rakic to win. I thought Rakic was going to stop him because the Teixeira stopped Smith pretty brutally. Not smashed his teeth out, didn't he? And those kind of things you just don't recover from. But he hung in there for 3 rounds. Maybe if it was 5, he would have got stopped.
Yeah, I think it's difficult,
good. Yeah, Rakic looked good.
Yeah, I thought Rakic looked real good, actually. So, Danny, I know you haven't watched the prelims, but Aaron, tell us some of your favourite fights and parts of the prelim aspect of the card.
The middleweight fight, Pitolo versus Impa.
Impa Kazakhne.
Yeah, that was a good fight. Real good fight.
Really
if you haven't seen that, so you need to watch it. It's real good. 3 rounds of them just teeing off on each other. I'm surprised I didn't get fight of the night, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. I tell you what, who I thought looked good was Sean Brady beating Christian Aguilera.
Yeah,
I thought that was quite
good.
impressive.
That Aguilera looked good.
Well, that Aguilera was quite impressive in his last fight.
Yeah.
And what was the other one? Which really there was one.
He finished him with a 1-arm guillotine, didn't he?
Yeah.
Brady. Yeah, it was good.
Oh yeah. And then the other one was the lady who fought Hannah Cephas.
Viviana.
Polyana Viviana beat Emily Whitmore. She was really brutal. Yeah. She was. But I also thought that Mallory Martin looked quite good. She submitted Hannah Cephas in like a minute and a half of the second round, I think it was. But I thought both those ladies
on the feet in the first.
Yeah, because that first round of Mallory Martin versus Hannah Cephas, I thought Hannah Cephas has got this, and second round she just come out and just
blew a gas tank, didn't she?
Well, that's what happened in the women's fight on the main card last week, wasn't it? With I'm gonna forget her bloody name. Danny, what's that name of that woman?
Oh, don't ask me the names. My goodness, actually,
the one she was really impressive on the fight. Like she was so impressive.
Yeah, I know.
Card before.
I can picture it in my head. I'll just.
Yeah, I can see both of them.
Go back.
That's gonna bug me. Yeah, but that's what happened. She completely gassed herself out going for the finish in the first round, and then the second round.
Agapova.
Agapova,
Dobson.
that was it. Agapova just completely gassed, like looking for that, because she's won so many fights quickly. She obviously
she got
a bit, and she got a good start. Like she did look like she was going to finish her, and then Shauna Dobson just waited second round, then come out and just brutalised her, and it was all game over. Like Agapova, I've never seen someone look that gassed out after like one round of fighting, which I get why, but she just looked like she had nothing. She had no energy whatsoever. But yeah, there was some good fights on the prelims. I haven't seen all of them, but I've seen most of them. And Zach Cummins, I thought, did well as well.
He did well, but last fight was a pretty lackluster. Apart from the head kick at the end.
Yeah, just Alex Caceres. What did you think of his performance? Won by submission.
He looked good. He caught that guy with a weird uppercut to the body, didn't he? And then that guy had a panic shot in, gave his neck up, but he had his arm already wrapped around his neck before he transitioned. It was good. Yeah, I like Caceres. I think he's a good fighter. He just, I don't know. Sometimes he just goes out there and just doesn't look himself. Like he's got a lot of flair about him, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's like the kind of fighter which you just enjoy watching. I think. But okay, so we're going to concentrate now on the main card. We'll go through it fight by fight, as it were. Okay. Pitch invader.
Sorry.
It's all right. You're all right. I mean, the only reason my kids don't do it more often is because my wife rugby tackles them before they get through the door. Shoulder blocks. But no, mate, we've all got kids. We know what it's like. They want to know. They want to know what's Daddy doing. Right. Sorry, I was just trying to find my results. Lost the page. Anything surprise you from the main card, Danny, particularly?
I don't think there's anything like hugely surprising, but it was really good to watch. I really enjoyed the overall viewing. I was never sat there twiddling my thumbs or bored.
Okay. Because I said to Aaron just before you come on, before we started, obviously the last 6 months or even the whole year, we've been treated some banging UFC cards and fights. But I actually thought this was one of the worst from a spectating point of view for a while.
Oh, really? I really enjoyed them.
I didn't enjoy them as much as I wouldn't say I was
bored,
but I was not as entertained as I have been perhaps recently. Aaron, what did you think just overall of this one? Anything sort of catch your eye or surprise you?
The main card, I preferred the prelims over the main card. The main card is started with Lamas in it. Lamas versus Aljo.
Lamas versus Aljo, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know much of that Aljo. He looked pretty decent though against Lamas. Lamas won decision, didn't he? I don't know. I must have been zoning in and out of that fight.
Yeah,
because I thought Aljo. Yeah, I thought Aljo took it from watching it.
So
I must have missed some bits.
So look.
Lamas started really pitting. Aljo lost that last round really badly.
That's the round I missed as well.
10-8, wasn't it? Yeah, right. 10-8 Lamas,
he was...
Oh, that's what I had it written down as 10-8 for Lamas.
I missed that last round.
He was getting destroyed from start to finish, like really bad. He was on his back, he was in mount, he was striking him. He did.
He finished the round in full mount pretty much as well, which I think that always helps, especially when you've been as dominant as that. So the official results went...
Schoolboy theory, isn't it? Whoever finishes on top is the winner.
Yeah.
That's it, isn't it? But like Lamas was given a decision 29-27, 29-27, 29-27. Danny, take us through you don't have to do round by round, but just your overall.
I mean, I was really impressed with both of them. I thought they both come to fight. Lamas always, he's been around for a long time now in UFC. He really impressed me how he always comes in shape.
He's always shredded, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. He had cardio for days. There were a couple of times where I thought Algiero was going to take over at one point, but Lamas just stays relevant. no matter what he's going through, he's staying relevant. And never did he try to coast through the rounds. Even when he lost one of the rounds and it was looking like the tide was turning, he was trying to drag back that round. I just think in one of those rounds, I think it's the second round where he's shooting in. I think he should have carried on striking and started where he left off in that first round. Not to say that he won that first round, but to me, he started hitting at Bill's leg. And I just think if he had carried on that theme, I think that could have become more of an issue for him in that second round. But he started to shoot in.
As well, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I don't know whether that was a good strategy to start shooting in. It looked like it was taking something out of him. But, once we went into that third round, he clearly got himself together. And as Odiro was looking a little bit more fatigued, still had energy and still trying to snap out of those positions. But Lamas is a pedigree through and through. He's really well-rounded. He really demonstrated that. And he also demonstrated how that no matter the length of time that he's been in the UFC, he still wants to send the signal that, hey, I'm still here and I still want to get at the top. And carrying on performances like that, he could do so.
He was meant to fight Ryan Hall, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Ryan Hall
I
got
think.
pulled.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
That would have been a good test for Hall, that would have.
Yeah.
Did anything to add to any more further observations, Aaron, for that fight?
For that, no, I think Danny covered most of it.
Yeah, I just think that last. So I had it down. Looking at my notes, I had Algero won the first round, and then I had Algero won the second round.
That's what I had.
And then I had Lamas absolutely destroyed him in the third round. So I had it for 2-1 to Algero.
All right.
But
I had Lamas winning the first one, but losing the second.
Yeah, the first one went either way, I thought. But the second was clearly Algero's, and I didn't watch the first. You guys say it was Lamas 10-8.
I really don't want to. Yeah, it was good round to watch.
Sometimes like people are kind of not sure, or is it dominant enough to be a 10-8? Or I thought there was no doubt that the third round was a 10-8. I thought it was.
And when we say 10-8, it was never one of those things where you thought it was going to end, because Bill just kept on moving. Like I say. He kept shifting around and trying to escape the bad positions, but he was just getting transitioned on. He was always being put in further problematic situations and was getting struck upon. I think Lamas did the right thing on not trying to sub him, but try and just score with the aggression, trying to throw the elbows and the punches, and that's what we saw. At one point, Ojira did get up on his feet, but got put down pretty damn quickly. Did you spot as well when he got taken down from that rear stood position? He dumped him slightly on his head as well, so he got a nice little bit of whip up with that takedown, which got to show that his cardio was there to be able to do that in the third round. They was having hard exchanges on the ground and he was being aggressive. When Bill got stood up and he was on his back and he threw him back down with quite some vigor, it just goes to show his conditioning was spot on.
Indeed, mate, indeed. So next up was Ji Hyun Kim versus Alexa Grasso. What did you make of this one, Aaron?
Good. They didn't throw many kicks. There wasn't that many, apart from the last round, which I seen. There was Grasso was looking good on top. Boxing looked sharp. Her hands look good. She moving up weight class, isn't she? This is a fight.
Yeah, because she's normally a strawweight.
Yeah, so she looked good. She looked better at this weight class than she did at strawweight.
Yeah, I thought it suited her much more. Like she didn't. She just looked fitter, sharper, quicker in pretty much every way, and I think sometimes that's just the case, isn't it, with weight cuts and things like this. Sometimes certain weights just work better for certain fighters, and I thought she just looked all round sharper, and it was clear that it helped her.
She didn't look lost in our weight class. She looked good.
Yeah, Danny, what did you make of this one, mate?
Yeah, really impressed with Grasso. It was her form that impressed me. Her hands were always in place, and when she launched her attacks, her other hand was always high. Her combinations in the pocket were real quick fire. She was like an Uzi going off. Really quick fire with that strict form, and even her footwork was so precise. Every step that she made was like a meaningful step. She was never forced out of position. Everything was calculated, And I think really that's what was edging it. Really was a combination of her work rate, holding really good form, which kept her calm, and being a little bit more diverse. There wasn't a lot of kicks that went on, but Kim barely threw any kicks at all. And I think the fact that Grosso was throwing some kicks and being a little bit more diverse with her striking made her a little bit more visual as well. It was almost like Kim could have stepped it up. It's like she was not putting her all into every round. Now, whether it was because she ended up getting a shattered nose, her nose was looking quite problematic, and whether that was making her not wanting to push the pace, whether it was affecting her breathing, or whether it was painful to do so, it was making her feel a little bit gun shy. But every time she did land, she looked really quite powerful, and she looked big as well. But I just felt like she didn't leave all of her energy inside that cage. I just felt like she pushed a little harder. She could have got some successes in her own right, but it just wasn't to be. But Russell was utterly impressive. Looked clinical, really, really clinical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so, mate. I thought she just generally looked the sharper, fitter, and like you say, clinically, her striking rather was very clinical. And did you have her down for all 3 rounds, Dan?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I did
I
as
had
well.
it down for all 3. Yeah, I was going to say, but yes, I thought it was very. She couldn't have performed much better, I didn't think, other than to finish it really. Like outside of that, I don't think she could have done much more. Overall impressive, and I'm sure she will.
The closest round was the first round. I would say that was like the closest one, but I think she began to find clearer openings as the rounds went on.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll get another fight at that weight now as well.
Yeah, definitely.
After a performance like that, and so she should, and if she performs like that again at that weight, then she's going to be bang up there.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it's definitely suited her, didn't it? So then next up we had Robbie Lawler versus, who was picked by Danny, may I add, Danny, the professional coach, ex-champion of the world. So does that mean I'm now the champion of the world?
No.
Is that not how it works? Robbie Lawler versus Neil Magny. Robbie Lawler ranked 13, Neil Magny 14. Neil Magny's been on a very good run. Even the fights he's lost, he's looked impressive. And he just looks. Do you know what I like about Neil Magny? Is every time I see him fight, he looks like he's improved, and he looks like he's gone away and he's worked at the different things which are maybe the weaker parts of his game, or points where he maybe has had a few holes in a previous fight. He comes in and he looks like he's worked on them. And I thought that again in this fight. I thought he really, really, I thought he was very, very clever. And Robbie Lawler is one of the most experienced fighters in the world, and so for him to perform at this level against someone who's very experienced, I thought was impressive, because I thought really it was only maybe the 3rd round where Lawler kind of
caught him a bit, didn't he?
Yeah, just upped his game a little bit. I thought the first 2 rounds he was very, I don't want to say slow, but slow. He was just a bit.
He looked his age, didn't he?
He looked sluggish, mate. I think is what the word I was looking for. So Aaron, you take us through your thoughts first for this one, mate.
I think Magny looked good. I think that's the best he's looked. He looked like in these last couple of fights he's used kind of the similar game plan. Pop that jab out, keep the strikes long, keep moving, get his clinch. He looks like he does well in the clinch. He's taller than everyone, so he weighs on them. And I knew he was going to do this coming in against Lawler, because how Covington did the same to Lawler. Just put him on the back foot, put him against the cage. Magny did exactly the same. Lawler never looked in trouble again. Finished though. Magny didn't seem like he was going to finish Lawler at any point. But
I'm gonna have a quick look actually. How many fights Neil Magny's finished, because he didn't see.
He finished
to me
Lombard,
anyway.
That was his last finish, I think.
Lombard. Did I'm gonna check that now, but like he didn't. He doesn't always seem like the type of fighter to go and tap someone out or to knock
Yeah,
someone
like
out.
when he caught Lawler with that, he threw like a jab and another jab. Lawler slipped right, slipped left, and then Magny feinted it for a right knee. Caught Lawler slipping into it, and just that was it. That was the end of the combo. Knee, boom, caught him, just stood there. I was like, oh mate, you should have been raining down 1-2s, dropping him, throwing a head kick up there as well. But yeah, you can't rush in against Lawler, can you? You have to be patient throughout the fight.
You've got to be patient. So Neil Magny's been on a bit of a tear. I'm just having a quick look at his.
He beat
record.
Rocco Martin, G-Ling, and then he's beat Condit as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, so
and
he beat.
Lawler.
So he beat UFC 219. He beat Carlos Condit. Then he beat Craig White. Then he lost to Santiago Ponzinibbio.
He put on a clinic that fight though.
And that was,
Ponzinibbio did.
I was going to say, and that was it. That was in the main event, so that was a big night for Magny. It was a main event in Argentina, so he lost that in the 4th round. But yeah, you're right. Ponzinibbio put on a bit of a clinic that evening in his home country. But then since then, he's won 3 on the bounce versus Li Liang, Anthony Rocco Martin, and then Robbie Lawler, all on decision.
All similar ways
White.
he beat him as well.
Yeah, very similar actually, thinking of it. And like he beat Craig White on the Thompson versus Till card via knees or TKO, KO. But then he beat Carlos Condit by a unanimous decision. He lost to Dos Anjos via submission. And then he beat Johnny Hendricks via decision. So yeah, you are right, he beat Lombard via TKO. And then he beat Gastelum, he beat Eric Silva by decision. So he hasn't got a great deal of finishes but look, you're not in the UFC for as long as he is without being exceptionally talented. He made his UFC debut in 2013. His UFC debut, this to put it in perspective, was on UFC 157. So
wow,
that tells you a lot. He's also closing in on George St. Pierre's record of what did I just saw it just now.
Most wins at welterweight.
Yeah, I think it was most wins at welterweight. So he's got 17 victories in the welterweight division, which is second only to George St. Pierre, who's on 19. So he's got a very good chance of breaking that record because he's only born in 1987, so I say only, but like what's that, 33? Yeah, so but I would think he'd probably break that record barring any big injury. But yeah, I thought he was very impressive. Danny, what did you make of Neil Magny's performance?
Absolutely. He definitely is improving in each fight. It seems he seems to be honing his own little style, and it predominantly is getting him the wins. I just felt that sometimes he's looked a little like he gets his feathers ruffled in some of his previous fights, and I thought Lawler might be able to ruffle them. But he would have to stay striking and be aggressive with his striking. But I was really surprised that Lawler wasting a lot of energy of trying to take Magny down in the 1st round, and I think that just took the edge away. And he had a short camp, didn't he? It was a short notice fight. I think, did he have something like 3 weeks to get ready? Is it something like that? He didn't have a full camp, did he? And at his age, not having a full camp.
So.
He was scheduled to fight Jeff Neal, wasn't he?
I think he had a full camp, but I think his opponent changed.
Oh, was that what it was?
Okay. Magny was meant to have Jeff Neal, and he stepped in for Jeff Neal, didn't he? Lawler.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
I think it was. So how long did he have? Yeah, it was 3 weeks, I think, wasn't it?
I'd have to check now.
Which, at 38 years old, 3 weeks, those sort of stats are going to go against you. But I just thought Lawler's style, or how we've seen him in the past, could have ruffled Magny, but it wasn't to be. I just think that 1st round strategy kind of
blew his arms
floated. Yeah, that's right. And he's a shorter, stockier guy, and you're right. Once the blood gets heavy in those arms, you've got to feel less sharp, and you have to be sharp because Magny's quite elusive. He fights long. You've got to push close to him. And there were times when he looked Lawler looked good. In Magny was kind of being forced to run away, and was looking like those feathers were getting ruffled, but he just had no cardio to maintain it. And then Magny did the really good strategy of getting that title, even going to his back at one point, just to spoil any potential activities of Lawler. I mean, it's not very often you'd say going to your back's a good idea in MMA, especially at that level, but that was actually a good call. I think he might have got slightly hurt or thought that something might have been coming more forward from Lawler, and he chose to go to his back and just hold on and spoil another minute and a half out of that last round. Really impressive. Let's just see how his progression goes. He's got to be looking at getting a match up in the top 10 now.
So the division for the killers as well.
It is.
Yeah.
So there's a few though, isn't there? Like the featherweight division, the lightweight division, and that welterweight division are just brutal in the UFC.
Yeah.
They're just unbelievable. Danny, I just want to ask you a question, mate. As you know, I like to throw you in a couple of questions as we're going along. Maybe the people who are casual viewers of MMA. So last week you said go into your back. I think it was, I can't remember which fight it was. It might have been Agapova actually, but it might not have been. But one of the fights you sort of not criticised, but you pointed out that the fighter went to their back when they probably shouldn't have, and it cost them the fight.
Yeah.
So why, in that case, was it a bad decision, but in this case, it was a good decision?
Well, Lawler was trying to get some momentum with his striking, and Magny was, being forced back. But Magny was getting the better of all the ground exchanges. So he obviously felt that he was, better and well versed there. And we know Lawler can come alive when it becomes a war. And rather than get it to be a war, he played it a little bit more passive. He knew he was 2 rounds up, so to go to his back and just hold on like he did, he just stopped Lawler being proactive in any way, disrupted any rhythm that Lawler was trying to find. I just think it was a good call. I just thought Lawler's previous aggressive style that we know that he's got, being southpaw, I just think it would have and should have been more problematic to Magny. But he didn't make Magny think. And Magny was putting all the questions onto Lawler. But you can't take nothing away. I just can't help but think now that Lawler just doesn't have the same desire for the fight. I think he's had the fight run out of him somewhat now. And it's not even the age thing. I just think he's been in so many wars. Maybe he's just not willing to go there anymore.
And he has been in some proper
5-round wars.
He has. We've talked numerous times over these last few weeks, haven't we, about fighters beginning to age and perhaps being in there too long. Although he still looks good and he's not getting KO'd, for his legacy that he's created for himself, which all the fighters respect him for what he's brought to the sport. Maybe it is time for him to call it a day. You got to wonder where what kind of desire has he got? Is he really going to get back into title contention in that weight division with the way it's stacked up? I think it's highly unlikely. I think he'll struggle breaking into the top 10 anymore.
Yeah, and then he's just taking damage then, isn't he, really?
Well, it becomes detrimental to your health. He's had a good run. I'm sure he's become wealthy out of the sport.
The other thing as well I was going to say is if someone says the name Robbie Lawler to me, I think of like that image of one of his fights where his eyes all swollen shut and he's covered in blood from like the top of his head it's like a crimson mask. That's the image that I always think of. That's the image that comes to mind when someone says Robbie Lawler, but he's done that a few times, so it's like
they weigh up.
They just add up, don't they, mate? Okay, so Robbie Lawler, Neil Magny won by decision 30-27, 30-27, 30-27, and I'm pretty sure we all had Magny winning every round.
Yeah, he absolutely did. Look, Magny must have been confident. He was going for twisters. To be going twisters, you must feel you're getting the edge over someone.
Yeah, who's he think he is? And Bryce Mitchell?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what a legend. I'll never forget that fight, Dan, from the other week. Bryce Mitchell was just incredible.
Charles Rosa.
Yeah.
Just incredible to watch.
He's got a tough fight. His next one is Andre Feely. He's fighting next Bryce Mitchell, isn't he?
Is he? That'll be
that'll be good. Andre Feely's looked good recently.
Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, his last fight, he was really impressive. Feely, wasn't he? Well, do you know what date that is, by any chance? Halloween, they were. So I answered my own question.
Yeah, because Feely, he had that stand-up war, didn't he, last time out?
Yeah,
Isn't it?
with
There was on the feet.
Yusuf.
Really,
Yusuf, didn't he?
Yeah,
So
that's quite similar styles, weren't they?
Yeah.
But so, yeah, that'll be a really good one. I'm looking forward to that one as well. God, some fights coming up in there. Jeez, some real exciting ones. Okay, so the main event of the evening was so in our predictions last week, Danny Batten, coach, BST, former Cage Warriors champion, went with Anthony Smith, and Sai, podcast host, legend, went with Alexander Rakic. And I'm sure Aaron, being also from Cardiff, probably picked Rakic before this as well.
Yeah, I picked Rakic.
Yeah, it's no surprise, is it? It's no surprise.
I thought he was going to win by stoppage. I thought he was going to stop Smith. I didn't realise it was 3 rounds till it started.
Yeah, I was confused by that because they always seem to do 5 rounds with main events and title matches, don't they?
Rodriguez versus Zabit was meant to be the main event, wasn't it? So I read somewhere and they got moved. I don't think Smith and Rakic agreed for a 5 round.
I see. So just before we get into this, did we talk about the Kutalaba and Magmedov being off? I know we talked about it before.
You skimmed over
it. So yeah, I was very disappointed by that. I was really looking forward to that fight. Kutalaba versus Magmed. I can never say.
Ankalaev.
That's the one. Ankalaev. I was really looking forward to that fight. It was the fight I was most looking forward to on this card, and I was really, really disappointed that it was ended up being called off. And Danny, like I said to you literally last week, that I couldn't believe that they were supposed to fight on the 15th of August, which is like exactly 2 weeks ago. But Kutalaba got tested positive for COVID-19. I couldn't believe they'd scheduled the fight for 2 weeks later. It didn't make any sense to me because you've got to isolate for 14 days. Which makes... So how they managed to schedule the fight for 15 days later or whatever, or 14 days later, it was bizarre to me, but that's another story. And then when they tested him this week, Kutalaba tested positive again for COVID-19. So they're not sure if it's from the original test or if it's just a false positive. But it's disappointing because obviously they fought each other with the controversial finish. Then they've now been called off twice. Are they going to be the new Ferguson and Khabib, where you can
that's what I was thinking.
Never get the fight done?
It's because like everyone wants that fight now as well, so everyone's more like gunning for it to happen.
Yeah, and the thing is, we got a taste of it, didn't we, in the first fight, but it didn't end like as people would have liked. And yeah, hopefully they do something with it sooner rather than later. But I think Dana White sometimes, once he gets his fingers burnt a couple of times with a fight, he can sometimes wait a bit to reschedule it. But I hope that's not the case. But I got a little bit of a feeling that maybe we might have to wait for them to reschedule it. We're just going to see if they've just, as I said that, I thought, I'll check now, it's just in case they have already rescheduled it. No, nothing yet. So we'll see whether they do. But I was looking forward to it. I've been really, really impressed with both men, but Ankalaev in particular has impressed me, particularly the last few fights. Okay, Andy Smith, picked by Danny Batten versus Simon's Alexander Rakic. Danny, you go first this time, mate. What did you make of this main event of the evening?
Rakic just looks so dominant. I mean, those leg kicks were brutal, wasn't it? I mean, we kind of got used to seeing leg kicks in the lighter weight divisions, but seeing these heavy boys learning how to kick really well at low point is just, it was making my legs hurt watching it.
No fans makes you hear it loud and clear as well.
Yeah, I was just thinking after Smith's last performance, I thought that he would really push the pace, and especially being over 3 rounds, I thought he'd push close. and make it a clinch strike affair. I thought you would get in, sort of like the single tie hold with elbows. I thought he'd want to mix it like that, but he stayed out too long. And sometimes we fall into a habit that when we're being leg kicked ourselves, we want to leg kick back. I just think that was a mistake for him. I can't help but think as well in that first round that Rakic could have actually put this fight to bed in that first round. He could have easily got back into a stood position, but he stayed into a top wrestling position on Smith. He was in a sprawl scenario on him, but he maintained that position on the ground. That really kind of surprised me. But after having that kind of success, you would think he would just go back to his feet and hack at that leg again.
Yeah, he's done that in a few of his fights. So he did it against when he fought Justin Ledet, hit him with leg kicks, and then as soon as he hit the ground, he'd just stay there, hold him, and hit him with like short shots and whatnot.
Yeah, very, very strange. You would think his corner would be shouting out to him as well. Well, if I was there in the corner, I'd be like, get him back standing, work on that leg. Because, I mean, he literally collapsed, didn't he?
You might be in the opposite corner with him and Augustus if he keeps winning.
yeah, it could happen. Yeah. You never know.
Were you a bit disappointed, though, by Anthony Smith there, Aaron?
I was. Oh, well, shall we go?
Me, yes and no. I was disappointed when he lost to Teixeira. But I thought Rakic was going to win this. He's too powerful for Smith. Smith's a durable guy. He relies on that durability in a lot of his fights. And Rakic is someone who hits hard and he burns a lot of energy, but he doesn't because, like you said, he'll hurt you and then he'll get that top position and stay there. Then he gets back to the feet, he'll hurt you again, and then get back to that top position, stay there again. So he just beat Smith up, didn't he? Broke him.
Yeah,
Smith had no answer for anything he was doing.
His striking reminded me of like Nemkov versus Bader. He looked like he had similar sort of form. It just looked like a real predator on the feet, really stalking and hunting.
Yeah, he was like I mentioned earlier that I thought that Gaethje broke Ferguson, but I thought this was very similar. And I agree with you, Aaron. You used the word there that he broke him, and I feel like that he had too much for him, and he just didn't. I felt like it got to a point, sort of halfway through the second round, where Smith was a bit lost, like he didn't quite know how to combat it.
He didn't have no answer
brutality
for how to beat him.
Which is, surprising when you've got someone so experienced, but.
Yeah. When you got real hard kickers like that, man, you got to push, but you got to start pushing that pace on them and get close. You got to smother them, so they haven't got the energy to kick so brutally. And if they do continue to throw those kicks, you got the chance to counter them. But if you allow them to control the pace, a hard leg kicker is going to stay a hard leg kicker. You got to make their heart rate work. You got to push close. You got to push the pace so much so that those leg kicks are no longer hugely consequential. But Smith was just unable to do it. He just didn't look big enough to do it. The guy looked taller, bigger, stronger, more explosive.
Look fitter.
Yeah, just give away too many
sharper
physicalities. Yeah. But I was a little disappointed in Smith. Like I say, I thought he was going to be able to make a messier fight than what it was, but wasn't to be. It's hard to know where he goes from here.
I was going to say that was my next question. Like, what would you do next with him? However, Dan, before I ask you that question, I wanted to know, like, if you're his coach, like, what are you telling him sort of midway through that second round? Andy Smith.
Well, he's got to switch it up. He's got to try and put Rakic on his back or work him against the fence and work for something consequential like a cut. I'll be trying to get the clinch, try and work elbows, or trying to get top rope, but it'd definitely be elbow orientated. Yeah. I think submissions are probably out of the equation, but I'll be saying, look, play for the cut or hence knockout as well. That's obviously always on the cards potentially, but he has to push close. You can't stay out of range with someone kicking it with that kind of brutality. Yeah, and you can't be underneath as well. So I wouldn't even say shoot in to take down necessarily. Get him against the fence first, work elbows from there, and maybe if an efficient leg-on-leg trip happens, because he kept trying to bowl him over and ended up putting himself on the back. He kept trying to pull him over, and it just looked horrible and ugly. And I think part of that was because his leg was hurt, and he would rather be on top receiving than being stood up receiving. But it wasn't the right way to go about it.
No.
But what's next for Smith then? Aaron,
Well,
what do you reckon? Go on, Aaron. You go first.
Sure.
All the new light heavyweights coming into the rankings now, and new bloods though, innit? There's no one like who Jones has already beat. Maybe like I don't know. I couldn't really tell you who to give him next. Because
So-
Shogun's going to be having Paul Craig, isn't he?
Yeah, I think
I was
so.
gonna say, yeah, Shogun maybe
has,
again,
has
but-
John Jones officially dropped the light heavyweight title?
He's out. He's out of the rankings, the light heavyweight. He's
So
vacant to the top.
right, okay. So there we go. So there's John Jones.
Maybe-
there was nowhere
maybe
nowhere
give
for
him
him
that,
to go, was there?
Alonzo Medefield, because he was meant to fight OSP, wasn't he? Maybe him versus Smith. But like, most of the light heavyweights are new bloods coming in now.
Yeah, I was gonna have a quick look. What about you, Dan? Anything sort of stick out for you, mate?
I just think he's got to go back to the drawing board and rebuild himself somewhat. If he wants to make himself relevant, I think he has to put some of his shortcomings right against some low ranked people. But whether UFC allow him the comfort to have a few easier fights, so to speak, who knows? But you're right. There is so many young fighters coming up through that haven't become recognised yet, that are monsters just like Rakic. So what can you do?
Yeah.
I just think it's going to be tough.
Do you know, though,
tough.
mate, the run that he's on, and his performances, or some of his performance in his last few fights, is if he goes and fights like a lower ranked fighter and gets spanked, that could be the end of his UFC career equally.
Either or way, it's going to be the end. In his position, I'd rather fight someone that I stood more of a chance of putting a performance on and getting another win back on my record than I would fight another, higher ranked guy that could potentially end the career either or way. But I just think he's got to get back on winning ways, and the only way he's going to do that in a percentage chance that puts it in his favour is facing someone a little bit lower down the ranks. He has to just rebuild himself. I mean, he is a skillful guy, but is it possible for him to go down a weight? I'm not too sure. He's pretty tall, but he's not the thickest set guy.
Yeah, I think it killed him getting to middleweight, didn't it?
Did it?
When he fought middleweight, he said he looked drawn.
Right.
Felt horrible. Like.
Yeah, I was gonna. Has he fought at any other weight in the UFC?
Middle,
So
light heavyweight. Yeah, he was a big middleweight, but like a big frame. He had a big frame.
Yeah.
So I was just looking now to see if who have we got in the light heavyweight ranks. So you've got Dominic Reyes, Thiago Santos, Jan Blachowicz, Glover Teixeira, Anthony Smith then, and then you've got Jiri Prochazka, Ozdemir, Rakic. I would assume Rakic will probably go up to 5th. Nikita Krylov.
Maybe him versus Smith.
Yeah, that could be a good one. Or Misha Serkinov could be another one. Johnny Walker versus Anthony Smith, maybe. I could get on board for that.
Yeah, Walker's had a few sort of hiccups as well, so that could be a good matchup.
Yeah, and I think, do you know what? Johnny Walker versus Smith. If Johnny Walker goes and KOs him, that Johnny Walker might fancy the fight, because Smith's quite a big name for him to take from the rankings, but also from Anthony Smith's point of view, if Johnny Walker's got a big enough reputation that he could, if he beats Johnny Walker, that it kind of repairs his reputation. So I think from both, you could understand both of them taking that fight. I think it's a dangerous fight for Anthony Smith to take, mind, but and then you've got like Aaron Khalid, Mauricio Rua, Ryan Spann, Paul Craig. Who did you say? Paul Craig's got someone coming up.
He's got a Shogun, haven't he? I might be wrong, but I'm sure I've seen it somewhere. Shogun versus Paul Craig, the rematch. Because the first fight ended in a draw, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it did, didn't it? My memory is terrible, so I'm always hesitant to trust my memory. Let's have a look. Paul Craig. Yeah, UFC books Shogun versus Paul Craig rematch for November 21st.
Yeah.
But so that's another good fight coming up, isn't it? That's on UFC 255. They fought to a split draw in November 2019, and they've both won one fight since. So, yeah, that looks like a good one. That event is going to be headlined by flyweight titles for female and male. So you've got Figueiredo versus Cody Garbrandt and Valentina Shevchenko versus Jennifer Maia. I said that, Dan, didn't we? That Shevchenko versus Maia would be where they'd go next.
Yeah.
So that'll be an interesting one, mate.
Yeah, I still think Shevchenko's got to be a step too much.
Yeah, the only person. Well, she smashed it, haven't she? The only person she lost to was the one who's beaten everyone. Yeah, Nunes. I couldn't remember her name, man. But yeah, there's some incredible fights going on over the next couple of weeks, next couple of months. I'm looking forward to Blachowicz versus Dominic Reyes as well for the light heavyweight title. So when's that fight? Blachowicz versus Dominic Reyes. Anyone know?
I'm not sure.
That's because it's been announced for the vacant title. Let's have a look. Let's just have a quick look and see if I can find the name, the date rather. I don't know. I can't find that. But yeah, that's coming up soon. There you go. He says, and then goes off it. Pay per view. 27th of the 9th. 27th of September. Jesus, they're coming thick and fast.
Weekend, then.
Yeah. Oh, what a weekend, Danny. What are we going to do for that weekend, mate? It's going to be incredible. Like we might have to do. Maybe we should do like a live show on Friday night after Cage Warriors. What time will Cage Warriors finish Friday, do you reckon?
It's normally about 10
They're not normally. Yeah, they're not normally like mega late, are they? They're normally like done by about 10, half 10.
Yeah.
So I suppose is Jordan's fighting on the Friday though, isn't he?
I believe so. Yeah, I think it's on the Friday.
Yeah,
that one.
That's that out the window. Oh well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So just to finish off, we had a couple of questions sent in. One interesting one, which I think you'll like, Danny, as well, it's for Aaron, but I think you'll like it. But before we do the questions, we're going to have a look at next week's UFC and do our predictions.
Oh, no.
Because I'm on fire. And Aaron can give us his predictions as well. Obviously, we had the bonuses for last night's UFC card as well. So you had... Let's have a look. Where's the bonuses gone? What would you have said was fight of the night, Dan?
Well, I didn't see the prelim one, so I like the Lamos fight, to be honest. I really enjoyed it.
What about you, Aaron? What would you have
I'd
gone
say,
with the fight of the night?
Pitolo and Tazikwani. Is that his name? I might be messing up. Impa Pitolo versus Pitolo. I reckon.
Yeah, I would have probably gone with that one, I think, but I thought that other one, the one that Danny just Lamas. So Lamas versus Algeo won fight of the night, which I think if that other fight is on the main card, it probably wins it. So Paul Felder picked those. I thought it was always Dana White who picked the bonuses, but obviously not. Mallory Martin earned performance of the night after a comeback win versus Hannah Cephas, which, Danny, I think that'd be another one you'd enjoy, mate, because the first round is really one-sided, and then she just comes back, and second round she got knocked down, I think, as well, didn't she, in the first round, Aaron, as well,
yeah,
and then she comes back and gets a nice rear naked choke on her, and she was happy, screamed. The final bonus went to Sean Brady for his win over Christian Aguilera. Was that the one with the one-handed guillotine?
Yeah.
Did he went unconscious? Do you think he went unconscious, didn't he? Aguilera.
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah, he did. He was kicking out everywhere, weren't he? And then he just went out.
Just went limp, like.
Yeah.
Okay, so UFC next week. The main event is. Come on. My computer's going slow now, so every time I try and load up the bloody page. Right. Schedule. Fuck's sake. I'll edit this little bit out. My internet's just not working at all. Oh, Jesus Christ. Right, okay. So next week, the main event is Overeem versus Sakai. But we'll have a look at the who you got from that, Danny?
Sakai.
I see you went for the you've gone for a different tactic this week.
Well, yeah, I kept going with my heart. I kept going with who I wanted to win, rather than what I thought.
Yeah, so it's Alistair Overeem versus Augustus Sakai. But you fancy Augustus Sakai, do you, mate? Right, yeah, number 9, heavyweight bout. What about you, Aaron? Who you got for that?
I'm going to go Overeem. I like Overeem.
Yeah, Overeem's proper skillful, but I think he's going to get knocked out.
Yeah.
So the question remains: who's the king of the predictions going to go with? It's difficult. It's difficult.
You've won 1 week.
I know. Got to celebrate. I'll go with Alistair Overeem as well. You know, I just think there seems to be only one fight announced for that card next week, which is a bit odd.
Oh, I seen it earlier. I can't remember the names that were on there though.
So you got Eubanks versus Rosso, Carol Rosso.
You've got Michelle Pereira fighting someone.
Imadev. Is it something like that? I'm not very good at pronouncing these names.
Let's see if I can bring it up now, because I was off the official UFC site as well. It just said just didn't have any other fights. Right, full card. No, I don't. I can't bring it up. It's not working. But that was the main event, so that's our predictions for the main event of the evening. So we'll move to finish with the question which was sent in on Twitter. I had 2 questions actually. So the first question, Aaron, was out of the Welsh amateur fighters at the moment, the youngsters as it were, who stands out the most to you, and who do you think has got the most chance of going, you know, kind of all the way to the big time, as it were?
Well, I have to be a bit biased to this one because I don't know a lot of amateurs, but you've got the couple of young boys at my gym, the Matt Academy, Talon Jones, Deacon Thomas. They're in their teens, and they're already mixing it with the guys in there. I don't think they've had amateur fights yet because they're too young. They're under 18, but Deacon did. Do you have to be 18 to compete in the IMAFs? Or is there like a junior one?
Danny would know more than me.
Sorry, what was that?
IMAFs championships. Is there a junior one? I think Deacon competed in the juniors. And,
right. Okay. I wouldn't actually know that.
Yeah. Well, no. Deacon Thomas, Talon Jones, they got a bright future. They have, and Ethan Sylvie, he's had a few amateur fights. He's got a bright future, and Ryan Lockyer as well. You'll like eventually when they all start racking up wins, these guys are not to be like missed. They're good. Yeah, they mix it with the guys already, and they beat all the men up in the gym.
Yeah, Richard Shaw said on the show that he said like obviously you've got like amazing Welsh talent coming through now, like yourself and Ben and Oban and all these guys, Jack and Brett and all these guys who were already professionals. But he said the level of talent in the amateurs and just about to go pro and even younger than that, he said it's just ridiculous. So it makes for exciting times for Welsh combat sports. But I'm sure, Dan, if we spoke to you about some of the talent in your in your gym and your areas. There's plenty around because MMA is so much more accessible than it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, times are different now. We got a fair few world amateur champions, and we have pros come from all over. We're quite an open gym, so we have sort of like fighters come from surrounding gyms to come do some spa days and join in with the classes and what have you. And we got some amateurs that tear up the pros, so it's quite scary in terms of their future prospect. But as much as they're of incredible level, they're fighting in a new climate where, like they're saying, you've got these Welsh talents that people won't have heard of, but they're going to be. They're going to be competing with this newer, higher level. As my level was back when I was a world champion, I'd probably be struggling as I was back then with some top amateurs of today, to give you an idea of the difference in level. There's different times now.
Yeah, my 15-year-old, he kind of just missed the boat in terms of like kids now. They all want to do it, like, but he wants to get into it. Like he's 15. And he said, I feel like I'm too young, too old to start it, because he'd be starting from nothing, a blank canvas. But I was like, mate, you're 15. If you want to do it, then go and do it and get, learn it from scratch. Like, but I don't know whether he did. He's a big boy. Like he's like 6'2". So I'm not sure, but he plays football. See, he's a goalkeeper, and he plays football to a pretty good level, like an academy level. Nice. And I just don't know whether it's the right thing for him to do at the moment, because he should be focusing on his football, but he wants to do it, so I'm gonna have to look into it, as it were. And a second question, Aaron, was sent in by Johnny Wish, regular viewer of the channel and the show, and he wants to know if Mason Jones becomes two-belt Jonesy and wins the welterweight title, would you fight him if the opportunity came along?
If I went out there now, smoked out Nick Stanton, and they make Jones, they said, look, you versus Jones in Cardiff, why not? I mean, we have tear up at the gyms, why not get paid for it? Why not get paid for it on a big stage as well? Like he's got the lightweight belt. I'm not stepping on his toes here. He's at my division. Do you mean? Yeah. And at the end of the day, we all want the same goal. Like, no disrespect to anyone, but if they're in the way, they're in the way. Do you mean it's a selfish sport at the end of the day? You've got to have a business mindset going into it as well.
Yeah. Do you know what? I've always been of the same mindset. I would have always fought someone that I had have trained with or trained with regularly. If you're in the same promotion, same weight division, I would have, because to me it's not really a fight. To me, you're competing in a combat sport, but that word sport is really important. I think I've said before in previous podcasts, to me there's very few times you have real fights in your life. You fight when you have cancer and things like that. They're real fights. Or you fight when your loved ones or yourself are at threat at knife point and things like that. They're fights. To me, this is a sport. It's in a controlled environment, and I think there's no harm in finding out who's the best. If you've got the two best people in the country and they're both at your club and you're both in the same weight division, it just has to happen, doesn't it? But that's my personal. Some people just don't do that. But it's my mentality that I'd always fight anyone. I'd fight my brother if I had to. Indeed, I did used to fight him a lot. He was 4 years older, the bugger. I owe him a few of these.
So interestingly enough, Mason replied as well to the thing, and Mason said, "There's no way on this planet that I would fight Khalid. He's a monster." Now, I think he might be trying to lull you into a false sense of security.
Being too kind, I think.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, like you said, he's coming into your division, isn't he?
Yeah. So I'm not stepping on toes, am I?
No. But it's interesting. Like, and Danny, you hit the nail on the head. It's different for different people, because when Jack Shaw got asked the same question when he did an episode of Unscripted Uncensored, and someone said, "Would you fight?" I can't remember if they said a teammate or if they named like Oban or Brett or someone, and he said no. So I suppose it depends on the person, doesn't it? It depends on how you view it and whether you're comfortable with it, and etc. etc. But like at the end of the day, what if a teammate is the champion in your division and he's not got, if he's champion for like 10 years, do you sacrifice never being champion because you don't want to fight a teammate, or have you got to do it? Do you know what I mean? Like you said, Darren, if someone's in your way, they're in your way.
Yeah, I look at it this way. If you have got the mindset like I have, and you want to fight for the title, and your training partner's got that title, okay, it's their place to say no, in which case the fight won't happen. But then it's up to the promotion to say, well, you've got to step down, and it's, I don't know. Yeah, it only takes one to say no, and then the fight ain't going to happen, is it? But personally, I would fight.
Yeah, I guess there is that in there. But then, I'm sure any promotion would, I don't know what's the word, but like, they would look for the fight, wouldn't they? All promotions want to put on the best fight they can, basically, for the titles and stuff. So they're gonna go down that route.
Yeah.
Okay, Danny, do you have anything to add this evening?
No, just thank you for Aaron Khalid coming on. I understand that it's the weekend, and giving up any time with the weekend. I see you had youngsters jumping all over and stuff like that. So do appreciate that you took time out to come on here, and respect your opinion. It's great talking with you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on you. It's been great.
Pleasure.
Yeah, it's been good crack. I enjoyed it, and it went much longer than I thought it was going to go. I thought we'd be done and dusted within like an hour or something, because it was only the full card, but we found stuff to talk about. I enjoyed listening to both of you. Guys, you can follow Aaron on Twitter, and I've completely forgotten. What's your Twitter handle, mate?
At Khalid MMA on Twitter, and on Instagram is Aaron J Khalid.
Indeed, and guys, give Away Day Apparel a follow at Away Day Apparel on Twitter and at @awayday_apparel. Big thank you to them for sponsoring the show, as always. And if you visit their website, awaydayapparel.co.uk, and you use the code AA Podcast Nation, you get 10% off all orders. Big shout out to them. And you can follow the Danny Batten Fight Show on Twitter and Instagram at Danny Batten FS. And of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Ace Podcast Nation, and click the bell so you get notifications every time we upload. Danny Batten Show is out every Wednesday at 8 p.m, but we also drop shows. We have live shows Monday and Friday. We also have a show come out every Sunday, and sometimes some shows in between as well, just because we can. Aaron, thank you, my friend. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Danny, a pleasure as always, mate. Work on your predictions for next week, obviously. You're supposed to be the expert. Come on. No, cheers,
we'll
guys.
See. Let's wait till next week.
Yeah, we'll see. When Overeem absolutely spanks him.
He's going to get KO'd.
Cheers, guys.
Champion, welcome, Danny Batten.